It's ready now. All right, we back, family. That phone just whack. So I'm gonna give everybody a chance to log back in. That phone was whack, so we back. So I'm gonna give my people a second to log back in, and we're gonna dive back into this science. So give me 1 second. I'll let everybody log in. We about to dig. Set the atmosphere, baby. Set the atmosphere. We're gonna dig into the science. We're gonna dig into the science. All right, we back. We was having technical difficulties, so we had to change the little stream. So family, we're gonna get this back populating. So give me 1 second, and we're gonna dive right into it. Yeah, I know one of my buddies was like, man, it was just messing up. I had two things going on at one time, and it wasn't working out right. So, with that being said, we're going to dive right into this science. And what we're going to touch on today, we're going to touch on, I gave a couple of, just a history on what the Christian black codes were, and gave a little history on that. We're going to touch on that Lucifer in the scripture to eliminate that false interpretation about some devil. And I'm gonna show you who the morning star is, and make that connection. And I'm gonna highlight on another particular topic that one of my brethren wanted me to talk about, because he was like, man, it blew his mind when I was talking about the Kabbalah, and talking about how things are spelled Kabbalistically, and it's a science, and how this is nothing scary. If you follow my lecture yesterday when I was telling you about man is both male and female, and this is nothing scary. So with that being said, I always have to do things right, man, because we are a spiritual people. And so I like to set the atmosphere. But I also like to tell my brothers and sisters who I am. And I am a Hebrew. I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and yes, I'm a Moor. Proud of it, and that doesn't change who we are inside, because we all are Moors. We must understand this and take off that negative connotation. Take off that chattel for life when it said that you would be a proverb. These are real things, man. That's why when you in school with the pseudo-academia, they put you in the same jurisdiction as place and a thing. Don't you understand when it says person, place, your thing? How can a person be in the same category or the same jurisdiction as a place and a thing? Well, my brothers and sisters, when you put a person in the same jurisdiction or category as a place and a thing, my brothers and sisters, that means ownership. I mean, I tell you, words, adjective, nouns, pronouns, adverbs, conjunctions, compound words, everything means something. Words are not just written osmosisly, and you cannot just subjectively explain things and arbitrarily explain the biblical text. You can't do that. That is what we like to call malpractice. But for real, man, you know, today I'm going to be a little settled, man. I feel good, man. But, you know, I tell you, a lot of people are energy suckers, man. We just don't get it. And we just go around acting like it doesn't matter. And I tell brothers and sisters, this spirituality with me, this nationality with me, this is serious. And if you're not serious with me, you're not going to be around me. You're not going to be dedicated. That's why I talk to the ladies. I say, ladies, it's about you. I say, if I can have 10 women in this movement, I can change this whole nation. 10 dedicated women, because men always talk about what they finna do. I call them, I need to change brother's name, last name, first name to finna. And I'm about to. And I want to, because that's all brothers be saying, they want to and finna. Well, let's do it. It's nothing hurting you. All we got to do is make it happen. It's that simple, man. But let's get this prayer going on, because like I said, I'm a Moor. I'm not no religious person. I study Sufism. I study alchemy. I study my higher self. I study the 7 Kemetic principles. I study the 99th primitive right. I study the esoteric science. I'm a theosophist, a philosopher, a free thinker. But this is just something that we have to understand, man. We have to get into something that we know and get out of all spookism and eliminate it. Eliminate all that doubt, eliminate all that hate, and understand who you are. And when you understand who you are, you operate total 720. There's no reason to be arguing with someone about who they are or who this person is. Because if you understand who you are and if you're reading the text from the right perspective, from the right perspective, there's nothing to even argue about, because facts are facts. That's why I tell my brothers and sisters, share my message. If you like it, share it. Share it. I don't ask for a slug from nobody. Share the message. And I ask and I challenge all brothers that say they preachers. I challenge them all with this text. I say, don't get the preaching to me. Interpret this text. Because every time you get the preaching, I'm going to shut you down. I don't want to hear your preaching. Let's interpret this text. Can't do it. I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim. Because the Muslim brothers, they quote the Quran and the Bible. And then they talk around and be talking that dumb stuff. So if you're going to quote things, let's do it the right way. So let's get this prayer meditation popping off, family. But may the benison of all law, of YHWH, of Yahweh be upon thee and thine always, as thou should strive to be a credit to all humanity, to all law, to Yahweh. Make haste to bestow thy acts of love upon all brothers and sisters, and do thy best to shine thy evil ones. Remember to take suckle of the breast of knowledge, wisdom, fortitude, charity, love, and all standing, that ye might nourish the soul of men. Let truth be thy shield in the manifest battles of falsehood. Knowest that thou needest not to pick the lock of the gates of paradise by means of petty or criminal theft. For behold, the key to your salvation already rests within your own hands. And yes, my brothers and sisters, even though a portion of our nature is weakness, instability, and inconsistency, there is still the greater part of our nature that is divine. May Yahweh, may Allah, which is all law, protect thee, guide thee, preserve thee, lengthen our age, and give us all everlasting peace. In this Moorish science, my brothers and sisters, we honor all the divine prophets. We honor Yeshua, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. We are Muslims of the East. We are brothers of the East. This is nothing secret. We don't wear our fairs. We don't wear our fairs in Palestine. This is not a religion and political with us. It's our birthright. We can't be afraid of who we are. So this is no secret society, brothers and sisters. When brother be talking to adapt, I teach to adapt stuff, man. This is for us to share with our children, with our wives. I'm like I said, brothers and sisters, it's about our women coming together, because we got to understand about how our children learn. What do we all cry for when we're young? We cry for our mothers. The father just reiterate or reinforce what the mother is teaching, what the mother is reinforcing in the home. That's how the structure can get back right. When the woman and the man is connected. When the woman knows she's a Hebrew is more. When the brother knows he's a Hebrew, he's a more. And they stand strong and proud. And they teach their children the right way instead of complaining. So they know who they are. They know it's about their brain. They know it's about that wisdom, that education, that higher self. That's what it's about. It's not about nothing else. It's not about arguing with somebody else, who they are. It's not about being dressed up with a whole bunch of stuff on a corner. That ain't what this teaching is about, family. I'm telling you, brothers, you got to get out that religion stuff and get into who you are. You have to know this. We keep on portraying names that's not us. And we say it doesn't matter. Brothers, it matters. It matters. You're not a Christian. You are a Moor. The scripture said you are a Hebrew. Read Acts 24:5. They didn't call themselves Christians, family. I mean, I can read it in any one of your favorite beloved books. I'll read it to you in your King James Bible. They didn't Yahshua, they didn't call themselves no Christians. That was derogatory. The root of that is Cretan. Come on, man. The root of that is Cretan. I promise you. The root of that is Cretan. Hold on, I want to make a mark because that's funny. My book, my Bible is crazy. Well, it's not crazy. That's just how things do. Went on a page, and I wasn't even thinking about this particular scripture. But I'm going to read this one to you too and watch how amazing this text is. I'm going to get back to that. But let me give you this text real fast. See? So you can ask questions. Because I want you to ask questions. We can have dialogue all day. That's what this is about, man. For you can know. You let somebody tell you some Christian, some Cretan. And in the medical field, it means maimed. That's following Serapis Christos. Alexander the Greek. When he made the European Pharaoh. Come on, man. Acts 24:5. Listen to this, family. And research this. Ask your preacher. That's why they won't touch Deuteronomy. When they tell you, you would be a proverb. They won't tell you. Your pastor won't touch those. Because he'll tell you it don't matter. He'll tell you a Gentile saved by grace. But Acts 24:5. Listen to this. For we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Hebrews. It says Jews, but it never rejected the Hebrew alphabet. I read it in my Holy Name Bible. It's somewhere up here. Throughout the world. And a ringleader of the set of the Nazarenes. Of the set of the Nazarenes. Didn't say Christians. The Nazarenes. I'm telling you, family. They did not call themselves Christians. I'm telling you, you can say, well, this, that, and the other, just because you do something don't make it right. These black Christian codes was laws. Was it right? Was it right? I'm going to break them down to you. These black Christian codes was law. Were they right? Okay. So I'm going to read 2 Corinthians chapter 11. I'm going to read verse 22. And I want you to study this whole scripture. See, when pastor just be giving you one verse to read and they don't be explaining words and they be reading over words, and I laugh and I say, you're going to listen to I have to say this. You're going to listen to this Negro preacher say this goofy stuff and tell you words don't mean nothing? When I just gave you Acts chapter 24:5, they didn't call themselves Christians. Yahshua, the followers, didn't call themselves Christians. They called them the Nazarenes. And so when you research 2 Corinthians and you read chapter 11, verse 22, but it's highlighting about Paul when he unwillingly entered into a commendation, meaning when commendation, meaning you're glorifying yourself. Look at me. You're praising what the right hand did to the left hand. Who gives a poo? That's what these things mean, brothers and sisters. So we have to understand we get caught up in things willingly and unwillingly. And we have to understand our higher self and come down, because that pendulum is supposed to swing to the left the same way to the right. See, I'm trying to tell you who you are as a people and a nationality and a spiritual and a spirituality. It has nothing to do with no religion. No religious dogma here. I told you, I study all law. So read that text, family. Read that text, please. I challenge you. Not Christians. Christmas is not, the root of Christmas is Christ Mass. That's why in the scripture it tell you, don't follow the Nicolaitans, following St. Nicholas. That's some homework. If you follow my page, I give you all the scriptures. I want you to do some research. In the biblical text, it said you don't follow the Nicolaitans, following St. Nicholas. I'm telling you, it's nothing to argue about who someone else is, who not the Jews. If you have the encyclopedias and the books and the Jewish books, they tell you exactly who they are. I mean, I tell you, this is scholarship. I teach this. It's about understanding who you are. It's no reason to be arguing with no one else, because that's the issue. The lack of knowledge, rejecting who you are and rejecting that spirituality, rejecting the God within, rejecting your Messiah. Didn't say God. Your Messiah is the one that delivered the message. And you let somebody, some preacher tell you that the Messiah name is too holy for you to say, and the Messiah means a person from amongst your people. Are you ridiculous? Are you crazy? I mean, come on, family. Are you crazy? Are you deranged? Come on, man. I'm telling you, we've been laughed at. When I do lectures on college campuses, man, I'll be done in an hour. They're like, well, that's it. I say, yeah. I said, man, this is amazing. My brothers and sisters act like they got ADHD. They can't. And then I hear brothers sitting and talk about they don't watch the whole document series of some crime scene or some old hip hop stuff. And I'm like, that's cool, but we have to have balance. We have to have some balance, brothers and sisters. We have to have some dedication to what we do. That's what this is about. And I hear brothers and sisters say it don't matter, calling themselves Negro and black man and all this. I said, brothers and sisters, there's no black man. If you say you're African American, I ask you this: where's your dual citizenship? Where's your passport? Where's your passport in Africa and America? Just like my brothers and sisters that's from Ethiopia, from Zimbabwe, and from Poland, and from Germany, and from Egypt, and from England. They have dual citizenship. See, and you say you're African American. You don't understand this United Nations. That's why I tell brothers and sisters, man, I teach this. I'm not under no religious dogma. But whatever religions you say you're going to be under, we can have a conversation, because I study all law. I study all religion. I study civics. I study medicine. I have to. I'm a philosopher. I'm not in no religious groups. I'm in thinking groups. I'm not in no fake societies. When I talk about the philosophical society, when I talk about other memberships that I'm in, when I say, hey man, European lodges are only 32 and 33 degrees, and I say you get that in the Moorish temple, it's 99 more levels. You have to be in the right. I say everything is a type. Just like a type of husband, a type of son, a type of kid, a type of teacher. It's a type. Everything is not great. That's why the scripture says you must investigate. You must study a man to see who he is and what he's about, and see if this is really what he's all about, and see if he's living this and speaking different and standing strong on it, and always saying, don't believe me, research the researcher. I tell brothers, you don't have to believe nothing I say, but research what I tell you. Because I know a lot of things that I'm speaking on, that I'm delivering on, is new to a lot of my brothers and sisters. And it's okay. Because this is a craft. This is something I do. That's like brothers might be, they might have a craft as record producers and things and promoters. That's a person craft. That's what they do. And if you're good at what you do, you live it, you breathe it. You study it. It's a craft. It's a science. You take pride in what you do. This ain't nothing I just woke up and say I want to do this. I'm blessed to be able to talk to my brothers and sisters and deliver a message. Something that I get paid to do. Something that I went and got an education to say, hey man, I'm not only going to know this, I'm going to know this on both levels. For I can tell it to my people, and I can sit at the table and say that's not true. Because the perspective you're coming from is a pseudo-westernized European perspective. And I can stand strong on that and prove it with history. With all books. I did a lecture on campus where I destroyed all the encyclopedias. When they talk about Herodotus, Socrates, and Plato was the main thinkers. That Greek stuff destroyed it. They weren't great thinkers or nothing. They all studied in Egypt. I broke it down, studied, standing ovation. And that's what I try to bring back to my brothers and sisters. I say, man, I don't care what religion you are, man. Because if you talk about you reading that Bible, and you go to church, the Most High was definitely not no Christian. They were Nazarenes. And he definitely didn't say you have to be under no other religion dogma. It's 18 missing years of the Most High life. I have all the books. It's history books of the Bible. I have them all. And the only reason why I speak boldly like that is because this is a craft. This is a science to me. This is what I spend my money on. I don't waste my money. I'm not out clubbing, buying crap. I have the knowledge and the books, because in a minute, it's going to be over. You're not going to have access to all law. Everything is going to be programmed down your throat. And when I tell brothers and sisters, they say, well, how you have all this stuff? I said, these are all, because all the history, the stuff is in the museums, in Europe, in Spain, in Britain, all in the museums, in the doctoral library. I promise you. When I show you books about St. Mark, and I show you the picture with the Moors, the Egyptians, that was Moors, the four brothers, and they tried to cut the nose off. Man, where's my St. Mark book, man? It's amazing. Hold on, where is my St. Mark book? Like I said, I got so many books, man. This might be it right here. I don't know. Oh well. Not for another day. But anyway, let's get in these black Christian codes, family. When I tell you things matter. If you follow me, I gave you the precedent of case when Abraham Lincoln defended the Moore in court. If you didn't get that, my brothers, if y'all just now following, I will give you that case. Abraham Lincoln defended the brother, the Moore. Told him just because his skin was dark didn't mean he was no Negro. He not no slave. He won the case. He won the case, family. I'm telling you. These are things that the schools are not going to teach you. Just in the history books. So the Christian black codes of 1724. And I'm going to give you a nice little breakdown of this. When we talk about, things with law. Well, these were laws. And these were laws. So let's roll when we say things don't matter. When I show you United Nations law, when Obama reiterated the law about the rights of the indigenous people, that you have the right of a nationality and a name. I showed, if you follow my page, I'll show you the paperwork. This ain't nothing fake. You have the right of a nationality and a name and the right to change it. That is your nationality right. You're not no Negro, no black man, family. Then I show you all through history when I did the lecture of Queen Nanny, when I gave the history of Queen Nanny, of the Windward Maroons, and they had a city called Moortown. And if you want to know more, you were the Negro, a chattel, slave, runaway, ugly Negro, all those negative connotations. It said a wild Negro, rebellious Negroes, runaway slaves, rebellious, fugitive Negroes, Negroes in rebellion, or Kamahali Negroes. The Maroons, the Moors, man. I'm telling you, all through history. All through history. And we're going to sit up there and call ourselves a proverb. Something that somebody get a check every time the word is used. So the Christian black codes of 1724 family were initiated during the Reconstruction after the Civil War to control blacks after they were emancipated. Passed by southern states instead of giving blacks the same rights as whites. The codes limited blacks' freedom severely. They included that blacks had to be in service of white persons or people, that they could not have congregations together, that they could not speak out, and that they could not have weapons. This was the law. They also included that blacks, you hear, it didn't say Moors, blacks, I keep telling you, family, could not go out without a white supervisor. Thus blacks had to be taken, but blacks had to take on the religious holidays and gods of their white superiors. These same black codes were said to have been made null and void with the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865. Although many southern states adopted black codes to keep former slaves from voting and impose other restrictions. The 14th and 15th Amendment were to supposedly have eliminated these codes. But as I'm going to read to you, my brothers and sisters, and if you study the law of the land in conjunction with religion and politics, you can easily discover that these codes have been modernized in a disguise and camouflaged, and they're still in effect today. So let's touch on a couple of these topics, shall we? Yes, we shall. Article 1, decrees expulsion of the Hebrews. They always like to say Jews, never with a J in the Hebrew alphabet. It's like, I'm telling you, it's subjects that people don't want to touch on. But see, I touched on these on university campus. That's why I say education and scholarship is frowned on in the black church, in the community. You'll see. You'll see what type of preachers these churches are going to get without no pastor. You're going to see another goofball preacher. Watch. It's just what it is. I'm sorry. Don't make me no difference. I say exactly what it is. I'm only talking about what we see and what we accept. False prophets are only good except the people that be there. The people fill the churches up. So the pastor ain't the fool. The people the fool. Article 2. Make it imperative of masters to impart religious instructions to their slaves. Permits the exercise, listen to this. Permits the exercise of the Roman Catholic creed only. Every other mode of worship is prohibited. Article 4. Negroes placed under the direction of supervision of any other person than a Catholic are liable to confiscation. Article 5. Sundays and holy days. I'm going to tell you, I keep telling you, we keep taking on the rituals of the pagan and Gentile nations, following Nicolaitans, following St. Nick, but are to be strictly observed. All Negroes found at work on these days are to be confiscated. Article 6. We forbid our white subjects of both sexes to marry with blacks under penalty of being fined and subject to some other arbitrary punishment. We forbid all curators, priests, missionaries, secular or regular clergy, and even our chaplains in our Navy to sanction such marriages. See what I'm saying? Article 7. The ceremonies and forms prescribed by the ordinance of Blois and by the edict of 1691 for marriage shall be observed both with regard to free persons and slaves, but the consent of the father and mother of the slave is not necessary, that the master shall be the only one required. So what they saying is, your mother, your father has nothing to do with me marrying your kids off. We forbid all curators to effect marriages between slaves without the proof of the consent of their masters. And we also forbid all masters to force their slaves into marriages, etc. Children issued from their marriage of slaves shall follow the conduct of their parent and shall belong to the master of the wife and not of the husband. If the husband and wife have different masters, listen to this. Article 10. If the husband be a slave and the wife a free woman, it is our will that the children of whatever sex they be shall share condition of their mother, and be as free as she, notwithstanding the servitude of their father. And if the father be free and the mother a slave, then the children shall be slaves. This was the law, family. And you call yourself a black person a Negro. That's an oral contract. But who am I? I'm just your brother. That's telling you to research the research and research the etymology of words. Article 11. Masters shall have their Christian slaves buried in consecrated graves. See? And see, this is just stuff that when you educate it reveals. I told you, when you know history, it reveals the wicked truth. In slavery, they brought Christianity to you. It's just flat out, man. We forbid slaves to carry offensive weapons or heavy sticks under the penalty of being whipped and of having said weapons confiscated for the benefit of the person seizing the same. An exception is made in favor of the slaves who were hunting or are shooting for their masters and who carry them a written permission to that effect, or are being designated by some known mark or badge. Meaning you better have some paperwork or some badge by your master saying you gonna have any weapon, a stick or anything, a toothpick. You better not have no toothpick in your mouth, Negro. Article 13. We forbid slaves belonging to different masters to gather in crowds. So all this gathering you think you doing, talk about y'all finna have church? We forbid slaves belonging to different masters. So they don't want you to be thinking. They don't want y'all to be talking to each other, to gather in crowds, either by day or night, under the pretext of a wedding, thinking y'all trying to get married, or for any other cause, either at the dwelling or in the grounds of one of their masters or elsewhere, meaning nowhere. unless on the highways or in the secluded places, meaning you better not be caught under the penalty or corporal punishment, which shall not be less than the whip. So if it not be less than a whip, say they just whip you till you're dead. In case of frequent offenses of this kind, the offender shall be branded with the mark of the flower de luce. You better look and see what that is, family. And should there be an aggravating circumstances, capital punishment may be applied at the discretion of judges. We know who the judges were. This was the law. And you telling me things can't happen again when you call yourself a Negro or some black man or some color. Shame on you. And you say it don't matter. We command all of our subjects, be the only officials or not, to seize offenders, to arrest and conduct them to prison, although there should be no judgment against them. Article 14. Masters who shall be convicted of having permitted or tolerated such gatherings as foreseen, composed of other slaves than their own, shall be sentenced individually. So if you're a slave master and you let your slave meet with other slaves, you get punished. Listen to Article 15. We're going to get into this lecture, family. We teaching. We in school. Listen to Article 15. We forbid Negroes to sell any commodities. So all the brothers that's entrepreneurs, that have your own business like we do, you say Negroes were not allowed to have businesses. You think this is a joke? You think this is a joke? But we forbid Negroes to sell any commodities, provisions, or produce of any kind without written permission of their masters or without wearing their known marks or badges. Meaning, who own you, Negro? Oh, you mad because I say that? But you in your car, you listen to the news that's calling you that all day? You calling your homeboy all derogatory names? Please. And any person purchasing anything from Negroes in violation of this article shall be sentenced to pay a fine of 15 livres. I bet you ain't had that. I mean, not 15, excuse me, 1,500. Article 16, 17, 18, and 19 provide at length for the clothing of slaves and for their subsistence. Slaves who shall not be properly fed, clad. See, you hear how they speaking on you? Slaves who are not properly fed, clad, and provided for by their masters may give information thereof to the Attorney General of their superior council. So that's telling you chattel. Article 22, we declare that slaves have no right to any kind of property, but that all that they acquire, either by their own industry or by the ability of others or by any other means or title whatever, shall be the full property of their masters, and the children of said slaves, their father, mothers, their kindred of other relatives, either free or slaves, shall have no pretensions or claim thereto, either through testamentary, nor positions or donations, inter visa. No rights, which dispositions and donations we declare null and void, and